The 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar was not just a sporting event, it was a global spectacle that transcended football to become a cultural flashpoint. From the moment Qatar was announced as the host, the world's eyes turned to this small Gulf nation with a mix of skepticism and intrigue. Held for the first time in the Middle East, it promised to be a bridge between cultures, a showcase of the region's potential. Despite its promise, Qatar 2022 was mired in controversy even before the first whistle blew. The decision to award the World Cup to Qatar was met with widespread criticism over allegations of corruption and the nation's extreme summer heat. These factors, coupled with its lack of footballing history, made the announcement of Qatar as the host a surprising choice. The event was eventually scheduled for winter to avoid the searing temperatures, marking another first for the World Cup. Yet beyond the controversies, the World Cup in Qatar became a platform for cultural and geopolitical statements. This tournament was as much about football as it was about Qatar's ambition to assert itself on the world stage. As the tournament unfolded, it became clear that Qatar 2022 would be remembered not just for the football, but for the significant conversations it sparked globally. Qatar's unexpected victory in the bid to host the 2022 FIFA World Cup came as a shock to many. Announced in 2010, the decision raised eyebrows around the world, given Qatar's small size, lack of established football infrastructure, and the formidable challenge posed by its intense summer heat. The bid win was seen as a monumental achievement for Qatar, but it also immediately led to allegations of corruption and bribery within FIFA's ranks. The controversy surrounding Qatar's bid was not just about the heat, but also about the whispers of backdoor deals and under-the-table payments. These allegations suggested that Qatar's financial clout had played a significant role in securing the World Cup. Investigations and journalistic reports pointed towards a pattern of dubious dealings, casting a long shadow over FIFA's decision-making process. In the face of such allegations, Qatar maintained that its bid was conducted fairly and within the rules. Qatar's leadership was adamant that the tournament would be a success, a beacon of modernity and progress for the region. The scandal prompted internal reviews and brought about changes in the way future World Cup hosts would be selected. Hosting the 2022 World Cup came with an astronomical price tag for Qatar, with estimates reaching up to $220 billion, making it the most expensive World Cup in history. This expenditure covered the construction of state-of-the-art stadiums, a new metro system, roads, and other infrastructure projects. Beyond the financial costs, the human rights issues surrounding the treatment of migrant workers became a significant point of contention. Reports emerged detailing the dire conditions faced by laborers, many of whom came from South Asia and Africa. These workers were instrumental in the rapid construction projects essential for the World Cup, but often worked in dangerous conditions for minimal pay. Accusations of exploitation and a lack of basic rights led to international outcry and calls for reform. Amnesty International and other human rights organizations described the situation as modern slavery. The global spotlight on these issues forced Qatar to introduce some reforms, including a labor law overhaul aimed at improving conditions for migrant workers. Despite these efforts, criticism persisted, with many believing that changes were too little, too late. Section 4. Infrastructural developments and cultural showcase. Despite the controversies, Qatar managed to deliver a tournament that was visually and infrastructurally stunning. The country's commitment to creating a world-class experience was evident in its state-of-the-art stadiums, which combined cutting-edge technology with traditional Arab design elements. These venues were not only architectural marvels, but also environmentally conscious, incorporating features like advanced cooling systems to counter the desert heat. Qatar introduced an ultra-modern metro system which connected all the major venues and significantly eased transportation for the millions of visitors. The country's entire cityscape seemed to have undergone a transformation, reflecting a blend of tradition and modernity that Qatar was eager to showcase to the world. These developments were part of Qatar's broader vision to position itself as a leading global city, capable of hosting large-scale international events. Culturally, the World Cup was presented as a platform to bridge East and West. Qatar took this opportunity to introduce visiting fans to Middle Eastern culture, with numerous cultural festivals, exhibitions, and experiences set up around the country. While the infrastructural achievements were undeniable, they also prompted discussions about the future use of these facilities. Section 5. Key football moments, upsets, and triumphs. The football played during the Qatar 2022 World Cup was as memorable as the controversies off the field. The tournament was filled with unexpected twists and turns, making it one of the most unpredictable in recent history. One of the biggest upsets occurred when Saudi Arabia stunned Argentina in the group stage, defeating the favorites 2-1. Another historic moment came from Morocco, who became the first African nation to reach a World Cup semi-final. Their journey captured the hearts of many and demonstrated the increasing competitiveness of teams outside the traditional football powerhouses. The tournament also saw the legendary Lionel Messi lead Argentina to lift the World Cup trophy, fulfilling a lifelong dream and cementing his legacy as one of the greatest players of all time. The final against France was a thrilling encounter, ending in a dramatic penalty shootout that saw Argentina emerge victorious. Such moments of triumph and heartache are what make the World Cup a unique sporting event, capable of bringing people together in shared experiences. Section 6. Legacy of Qatar 2022, Lasting Impacts. As the dust settles on Qatar 2022, the question remains as to what legacy the tournament has left behind. For Qatar, hosting the World Cup was an opportunity to showcase itself as a modern, ambitious nation, and to some extent, it succeeded. The infrastructure and facilities built for the event have transformed the country, placing it on the map as a potential hub for future international events. However, the tournament's legacy is also marked by the controversies that surrounded it, particularly concerning human rights and labor issues. These discussions have sparked broader conversations about ethical considerations in hosting such global events. The pressure on FIFA to ensure that future tournaments adhere to stricter human rights standards has increased, making transparency and accountability more critical than ever. For the world of football, Qatar 2022 demonstrated that the sport is truly global, with emerging teams challenging the dominance of traditional powerhouses. Section 7. Looking forward, future World Cups. As Qatar 2022 becomes part of football history, attention shifts to the future of the World Cup and its hosting. The next tournament, set for 2026, will be hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico, promising to be a significantly different affair with a focus on inclusivity and sustainability. The lessons learned from Qatar will likely influence how these countries prepare and present their World Cup, especially in terms of infrastructure and human rights considerations. Beyond 2026, the confirmation of Saudi Arabia as the host for the 2034 World Cup indicates that the Middle East will continue to play a prominent role in the future of football. The world will be watching to see if Saudi Arabia can learn from Qatar's experience and address these issues proactively. FIFA's role in ensuring that the World Cup benefits host countries sustainably is under greater scrutiny, with calls for more robust guidelines and transparency in the bidding process. As football continues to grow and reach new audiences, the lessons from Qatar will serve as a guide for future hosts, ensuring that the beautiful game remains a force for good across the globe.